Peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What's good? All right, today, who y'all have joining me is my oldest daughter, who is into, digital cinematography?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to know from you is, what interested you in cinema, movies, Hollywood, acting, directing? What was
Well-
your first interest or entrance into the interest?
My first entrance into what I'm doing, what I want to do now.
Well, what attracted you towards the performing arts?
I don't know.
No idea, no clue.
No idea. But what attracted me to digital cinematography specifically was the freedom that
Okay.
digital directors have
Okay.
to they have more space to do what they want to do than film directors. They have more space to go different places and still do their job somewhere else, virtually, kind of.
So what are some of the biggest, I guess, restraints that a physical director has outside of, so I mean, I know and understand with digital cinematography, you don't necessarily have to be in the same place
Yeah.
of the people you're working with. To some degree, I would say physical directors have the same freedom in a digital age, don't they? Or is there big differences between the two?
I don't know much yet because I just started, but I do know that it's kind of similar nowadays because you can be a director and direct from a different place,
different location.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do that with filmmaking, just like you can do that with digital cinematography.
Right.
Or
right.
digital directing.
Right. Similar to, I guess, the music industry.
Yeah, you can do that from wherever in the world.
You don't have to be in the same place.
But there is an advantage, being able to be there in person to feel people's energy and what vibe they're giving off. That's the advantage of doing it in person.
Okay.
Versus doing it from wherever you want to do it.
Okay. But I think we were talking about this off camera. I think with the current events throughout the world, the lockdowns, COVID, I think all of the people who are already in the digital space and had already embraced that are probably thriving. While the people who weren't, the people who are doing traditional cinema, they're probably struggling. I would imagine they are.
But a lot of people who do traditional film and stuff, they most likely almost 90% of the time they're into other things that are more digital. So
okay,
only people who are strictly one thing have trouble during times like this. But a lot of people who are in the arts are in the arts, do producing, acting, directing in different different fields.
So you're saying most people by this point have already diversified.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most people.
So now
people who have been in it for a while or who started. I mean, some people I don't think we're really talking about kids, but there are a lot of kid directors and actors and stuff. They're probably doing one thing and not diversifying.
Right.
But people older people who've been doing this for a while have probably already expanded to different career fields related to that.
I think you have to take all of the people, even the kids who are in this space. I think at this point in time, you have to take them seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just write them off as a joke anymore. Have you ever seen any of the the fan made YouTube movies, like based on different franchises? Like,
Yeah, I have actually. I
they
remember one
are
time,
good.
you know, remember when people were mad about the Sonic, how Sonic was how he was animated, and then some guy redid the trailer but with like a better animation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't see
so,
that?
So I think I remember hearing that. So is that what the movie? Or
No,
is that
they
what,
just
okay.
changed it because of like
What
people were saying like, oh,
Okay.
this fan made a better trailer than the
Ah,
actual.
okay. I get
And
you.
they're just like, okay, we
I get
can't.
you.
That was kind of embarrassing for them.
This is the, I guess this is the benefit of the digital space, right? Like, I'm interviewing you. I'm an amateur. You're an amateur at this point,
Yeah.
seeking to go professional, but no longer do you have to wait for the majors, so to speak, in order to get your ideas out.
That's
or
very
put
true.
your face.
That's very true. You don't have to have like an Ivy League education or
Nope.
like even like a general education. You could
Nope.
just do what you love to do and put it out there and keep putting it out there, and you can get whatever job you want that way.
Yeah.
You don't have to be educated at all.
This is where I differ with some of the people within my age group, some of the old heads. Some old heads don't like the internet space. I particularly myself love it.
I do too. It creates a lot of jobs for a lot of people.
It does.
Who's like, I mean, education isn't, I mean, like school isn't for anybody. So that's where the internet comes in. The internet is for people who want to do something kind of artistic and mechanical of sorts.
Yeah.
But they don't want to go to like a school or do like traditional classes in order to get to where they want to be.
So this is more, so you would say the internet and I guess the digital space is more for kinesthetic people who are more hands-on, people who don't really enjoy the classroom environment or the traditional.
People who like to get out there and like do stuff themselves and like control their own like environment.
Yeah,
that's definitely what the internet's for.
Control their own destiny, so to speak.
Yeah,
the masters of their own fate.
Exactly.
So here's what most people won't know about Becca, my oldest daughter, and I don't know if she's gonna want me to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Probably not.
She is excellent when it comes to ideas. She has a book idea that I've been trying to convince her for years to write. It's a sci-fi, and the idea is actually, now I'm a sci-fi geek. When you get a sci-fi geek to say this is a fantastic idea, and it has elements of different stories, but yet it is original. It kind of reminds me of the original Matrix. Now, to the geeks out there, you're going to hear that and understand exactly what I'm saying. Like, it has that, yes, this is sci-fi. Yes, it has some elements of things we've heard before, but this is different. And I've been trying to convince you for 3 or 4 years now to start writing this book.
Yeah.
Did you ever start?
No, I don't think I can. I don't know. I think I'm just scared to like mess up the idea that I have in my head of what it's going to be like.
So why don't you just start one page at a time? Just start at the first page, dwell on that page for however long you need to, and then move on to the next.
I'll think about it.
This is how great books, I guess, are created. Great stories are created. Okay, so one thing I wanted to ask you is, when it comes to, and this doesn't have to just be directors, let's just say Hollywood in general, who do you respect from a creative standpoint in Hollywood, whether it be an actress, producer, writer? Who would you say you respect? Doesn't even have to be somebody that's well known.
I don't know. That's a hard question.
Okay. What about, so what either play or book or poem or movie, anything cinema related that you've seen that you said this is artistically inspiring?
Call Me by Your Name, directed by Luca. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm not going to try to, but it's like Italian. But that is a piece of work that I'm like, okay, this is like it wasn't even like there wasn't a high budget for it. It was a low budget, one camera film.
Really?
Yeah, and it won a lot of awards.
Wow.
And that's how Timothy Chalamet became so known, I guess. I mean, he was already known because he was in Interstellar, but that's how he became like this huge heartthrob for teenage girls.
Was he in Interstellar?
Yeah, he was. He played that guy's kid.
The son?
Yeah, some guy's kid.
The actor. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah,
played,
Matthew McConaughey.
I didn't realize that was him because I remember when you in Brooklyn brought up Timothy Chalamet, I didn't know who this kid was, and then I saw his face. I was like, oh, I guess I have seen him in some things.
But the film, it's very like. Wait, what was your question? Why did I answer that?
I was asking you what film or poem or book or movie inspired you artistically.
Oh yeah, that movie was such a big part in me like choosing what I want to do because it was so down to earth. I'm pretty sure it was like there was one camera and the camera they used wasn't even that expensive. So
you realized
it was a beautiful film made with not a lot of money.
So I think
it's really great.
I think what you noticed, and it's good that you noticed it because this is actually needed more, is that creativity is not shackled by expense, right? You don't have to have the most expensive gear. You don't have to have the most expensive camera. I've seen videos online of people who made, short films or whatever and did it 100% on their iPhone. And had they not told you that, you would never know. I saw a guy, he did a music video and he wanted to see just what he can do with the iPhone. So he went to Lowe's, spent about $30, got some equipment and built some rigs for his phone. And he made this music video 100% on, I think he had 2 iPhones, made the video 100% on these 2 phones. And it was fantastic. Like when I saw the finished result.
Do a lot with iPhones.
Yeah. And I mean, that just goes to show that I think the film industry is struggling in stagnation because they haven't embraced what has already been coming. Mm-hmm. Right, like everybody thinks they need big budget, big cameras, big actors.
Much with so little.
Yes, you can do a lot, and I've seen it done. When you even when you see, think about the news industry, right, or just the late show industry. You have random people like me online. Like I'm not popular, but you have random people that are online interviewing people, and their shows get way more views than these shows that are on TV with these high budget cameras and sets and budgets. Like the late night show,
there are shows on YouTube that get way more views than that.
Way more. So I think the digital space is really a great space because it removed the middleman. No longer do you need the industry behind you to do what you need to do.
True. Other than having to follow whatever platform's rules you're posting on, you're really doing everything
on your own.
Yeah. You're doing everything yourself. Everything's going through you.
Yeah, and I think Netflix. I think COVID-19 exposed many things, right? And I think one of the things it exposed is Wonder Woman just came out in theaters. Normally, you know me, I'm a comic book geek. I would rush out to theaters to see that movie, and I want to see it. I'm considering just purchasing HBO Max and watching it at home. And I've heard different directors say, like the director of the movie Dune, they're remaking Dune. I don't know how familiar you are. It's an older movie, older book.
Based off a book, yeah.
Yeah, so the director was actually mad. I'm trying to remember what studio. I think it was HBO said that they were going to release all of their new movies streaming.
Which is smart considering everything that's happening.
So yeah, but he was mad because what he said, and I don't know if I agree, he said big budget movies like Dune could never be done streaming only. I don't know if I agree with that.
Because Netflix has so many great movies. Did he mean there's no way directors from Netflix could make something that great? Is that what he was saying?
I think what he was saying is that a movie of that caliber could never be done strictly on a streaming budget.
I don't believe that though.
But here's where I disagree with him. I think what this current situation has exposed is, do you really need a budget that big to create a great film?
I don't
So that's
think
the real
And
question.
I think even if you did, streaming websites and stuff like Netflix, HBO Max, and Hulu, they make quite a bit of money because they make money monthly. And
do.
like movie theaters, they only make like, I'm not sure how like the finances of that
breakdown,
works, but
yeah.
like movie theaters only make money if people buy tickets,
So
like watch the movies. But all these streaming websites, they make money regardless if you watch the movies or not because you have a subscription to it.
So I think the difference is how you parse all of those payments out, right? Because you have many different shows and many different movies all on these platforms. So how's that money broken down into these? Like, how do these,
like from streaming websites?
Yeah. So how do these studios recoup their money?
That's
right.
Yeah,
So does Netflix purchase the movie? Like if I make a movie, does Netflix now for a certain nominal price purchase my movie? So here's where I
think you also get money from like how many streams you got as well after Netflix. Like if it's a movie that's already been like made and they're buying from you,
right?
You have like they have like, I don't know what it is, but they have like a contract where they can have it up for a certain amount of time. And after the contract's up, they take it off Netflix because that happens a lot. But I think that like they base like how much they give you like from their subscriptions based on like the streams you get from it.
Okay.
I'm just assuming that from like what I've seen.
You might be right. You might be right. I'm just, like I said, I'm not sure exactly how that model bears out, but I think what needs to happen is, so I'm not going to say actors are overpaid, right? You're paid what people think you're worth, right? If
also
somebody,
you have to live off the money.
You have to live off of that. But I think moving forward, things will change. Maybe the way actors get paid will change, and it'll be maybe a different model, maybe similar to the music industry. You know, artists get paid depending on how much their stuff is streamed. Maybe something similar to that will happen.
That would actually, I agree with that. That
for
would be
actors.
A great idea.
And you know, I'm not one to say, oh, these people are getting paid too much. I'm not going to say that, but if things change, you can't really get mad per se if the market you're in changes.
Do like actors and like musical professionals not get paid like the same like type of like?
So it's different. So in the music industry, if you don't own your masters, right? So when you record an album, that original recording, that's your masters, right? Your master recording. Now that can be redistributed. Record labels normally own the masters, so they get paid off the masters more than the artist gets paid. So every time a song is played, like I think restaurants have to get a certain license to play music, and that
like retail places too?
Yes, and I think so. I think they all have to get a license to play this music publicly. And radio stations definitely have to get a license to replay music. And that goes to I can't remember the agency, but the record labels get a certain percentage of how many times a song is played, and artists get a certain percentage. Now, the artist percentage is a lot less than the labels. So how artists make most of their money is tours and merchandise. And then you have what's called a 360 deal, where I don't know why anybody in their right mind would sign a 360 deal, but that gives the record label some of the profit from your touring and your merchandise. I would personally never sign a deal like that. Look,
that what you just explained before doesn't sit right with me. I think that that's record labels should not get paid more than the artists because they're not doing the work. So I mean, they're doing the work to promote it, but that's all they're doing is promoting it.
So I'm glad you brought this up. So this is where I was, and this is why I brought all of this up and why I was going here with this. So there is an argument from the standpoint of the record labels that without our efforts, your music would never get put out there. you wouldn't.
But that's not true. You can still get your music out there without the record labels.
You can.
But it's just going to take a little longer probably.
So, again, now.
Which I guess that's what you're paying for is the speed.
Right. Exactly. So.
But that still doesn't sit right.
It doesn't sit right. But you have the right to forego signing these contracts.
Yeah, you can say, oh, I don't need your help. I'll do this by myself. It may take longer, but you don't.
Right. Why don't artists do that? I'm confused. So, and that's
with artists, like, I don't know why, like, I don't know. I'd have to, like, know, like, the exact situation. Right. But I know, like, artists like Ariana Grande, there's no need for her to do that because she's making a crap ton of money.
But she is with a label.
Yeah, she is with a label. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any difference if she doesn't use a label or does use a label.
But
I just think her using a label is a waste of money anyway.
Well, now at this point, but what about when she started and nobody knew who she was?
When she started off, like, as a kid, a teenager,
so here's
it made
what people
more sense that way.
Right. Here's where people get trapped. You sign this contract that holds you to this label for however many records, or they own the rights. My problem with contracts, and I'm going to tell you this since you're looking to get into the media industry. Personally, I'm not saying this can be done. I'm not a lawyer. But if I was in the entertainment industry and somebody gave me a contract that was more than 2 pages, I absolutely will not sign it. If it takes you more than 2 pages to establish a contract with me, not signing the contract.
But the thing is, you have to cover, like, your bases, so that'd be kind of hard.
Well, they'll have to figure out how to cover their bases. So the only reason I say that, and I know that sounds extreme, is we've just went over this. This is the internet age. Who needs a big company to really get themselves out there?
No one, but it's kind of just like a trap. If you start at a young age, it's kind of hard to get out of that cycle.
Well, oh yeah, if you sign, you're talking about if you sign a contract,
signing contracts, and, like, people, like, I'm assuming people will, like, threaten you, like, if you don't, like, keep this going, you won't keep getting the same kind of recognition.
Right.
And I guess people are just kind of scared to, like, get out of that.
But then you look at someone like PewDiePie that started from nothing, just a video game streamer. And next to, what is it, T-Series, the Indian media site, PewDiePie has the second largest YouTube channel on the planet. Billions of views. A lot of money. He had some deals with Disney and some other companies that fell through because of, different issues, but he still paid. Mm-hmm. He's his own man doing his own thing now. From what I understand, he was doing a video a day every day for years and took his first break, a year ago or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So consistency.
When I wasn't, like, it takes a while.
It does.
That's the thing. People don't
want to put in the work.
Yeah, people don't want to do that.
I do. So
he didn't get, like, super popular until, like, my freshman year of high school.
Yeah, so that was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago. So I think you're right. People don't want to put in the work, right? Like, I've been doing.
And it's kind of hard. Like, if you do the same thing for, like, years and years and
don't get recognition,
you're like, why am I even doing this anymore? But that's where you have to, like, tell yourself, I'm doing this because it's what I want to do and I like it, not because I need something out of it.
Right. Like my Bible videos. I enjoy doing that. I study my Bible daily. Some people enjoy the videos, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna do it. Whether I get recognition or not. I do this every now and again. I'll miss a day, but I do a video pretty much every day. And now starting out this podcast, this is just my random thoughts, right? Like random thoughts on a myriad of issues, watches, comic books. Today we're talking about media, cinematography. Yesterday, me and Malik talked about cars. The day before that, me and Ezekiel talked about some political and social issues. Me and Brooklyn talk about political, social issues. So I enjoy conversation. Of course, y'all know I enjoy conversation. Yeah. I'm always talking. But since I enjoy conversation and it is a lost art, in a lot of ways, these videos are me sharing my conversations with the world.
Yeah.
So we can all have a conversation and join in.
This is just because this is type of stuff like the conversations you have with people anyway.
It is.
But like you're sharing it with a wider range of
Wider
people,
audience.
which is, I guess that's why you're doing it.
Right. Yeah, doing it, and I enjoy it. But I said all that to say, going off of what you said, consistency. I mean, I'm not saying my channels will go anywhere. They may not. No one may like anything I have to say. But the one thing I do know is, at some point, if I keep putting out these videos, at some point, it's going to catch attention from someone, right? Or just organically build up a crowd where people are like, hey, I enjoy what this...
And like sparks conversation within your viewers, which is...
Look at Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan first started, he did, like, I don't know if you've ever listened to his podcast or looked into it, but Joe Rogan started like 11 years ago or something like that, and had barely any viewers, couple hundred. He's the largest podcast on the planet Earth. There is no podcast bigger than his. And it all started with him just having conversations with people he know and consistently putting out videos and audio. And now, biggest podcast on the planet. And it happened organically. This is why I say artists and creatives, why you need to sign with a major company. This is beyond me. You could produce a whole movie, put it on YouTube just for the promotion to get your name out there. Think if you produced a movie, put it on YouTube, and it got millions of views. Well, now you're getting ad revenue, right, from the millions of views you get. And now people know your name. Like, who is this? Okay, I want to check out what else she did. What else is she doing?
It could also be like, it could also be for security. A lot of people like the feeling of like somebody has your back if you fall.
Yeah, and that, and in some ways that's good, and in some ways it's bad, because I think that kind of produces I always get these two mixed up, dependent or codependent. I think it's codependent. It creates this codependent.
Yeah, where you're depending on somebody else to like.
You feel like you need them to survive, and there's so many people who have used social media to springboard their platform to where they really don't need anybody else to back them. And that's why I think the digital route, personally, if I was in your shoes, I would be doing the same thing. I would like, what route do I need to take whereby I can do whatever this is digitally and do it on my own?
Yeah. And that was the whole idea of me like switching from the filmmaking degree to digital cinematography. I want the freedom to be like, okay, I want to keep doing this so I can go and be a director someday, but also I want to do something else while I'm doing this. Like maybe I want to get into real estate, but I also want to do that like wherever I want in the world and still be working on my degree so I can do what I've really always wanted to do.
So you have autonomy.
Yeah.
You're self-reliant, self-dependent.
Yes.
I like that. And I think, like I said, I think early on what I said stands true, that what we've seen play out this year, in my opinion, has proven several things, right? Think about all of the people in the entertainment industry that were laid off. And then think about all of the people who were already in the digital space doing their own thing. They're thriving. This is the time for... Yeah, they're still making their money, still doing their thing, and they're not dependent.
Yeah, and the people who got fired have to start from the beginning, figure out what they're going to do in a time like this.
Right. They have to learn what people who are doing this on their own have already known. That I can do this on my own. I can make my own money, and you can, in essence, enter your own space and not someone else's space.
Yeah.
And I think so to segue off of that, or get back to what we were saying about actors. So what do you think will be, okay, so I pose it to you this way. I think actors and actresses can still almost keep the same model and maybe get paid the same or more, just in a different way. And here's how. Let's say if you had 1,000 different directors, across, let's say, YouTube and other platforms, BitChute, Minds, or whatever. Now, across all of these thousands of directors, they don't have a bunch of money, but they have money to pay actors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you could be in several different projects across these different platforms and different directors.
That's
and
true.
get revenue from different places.
Yeah, and
you might
don't
not get a
have to
big
have,
check.
like, because a lot of times if you're like working in like Hollywood and stuff, you have to have like a contract, like I will only work with you for this period of time.
Right.
But with the internet, you can work with multiple people,
Right.
unless you run into somebody who like wants to
Sign something exclusive.
Yeah.
And maybe you get that as well. Like say, let's
but like
say
exclusive contracts, I believe, should pay more.
Yeah. Let's say you become a digital phenom and your movies are just critically acclaimed and you're making money out the, you're making so money it's ridiculous. Then it would be easy for you to say, okay, Tom Cruise, I want you to sign me an exclusive 2-year deal where we're going to make 4 movies and I'm going to pay you however many million. And depending on how much money the movie makes, you may make commission on top of that. I think that's a model that can be, and just think, if you're that big, now you get sponsors, right? Now,
more
money. Let's say Ford comes to you and says, hey, your movies are seen by everyone. We want to sponsor you. Just put an ad at the beginning of your movie, right? So like TV shows, you have ads, but the difference is the ads are not throughout the TV show. They're just like movies in a movie theater. You get an ad before your movie.
Yeah.
I think that's a model that may be used moving forward. I think this is an exciting time. A lot of people are discouraged, but I have a different viewpoint.
I think a lot has come out of this. Like, a lot of things have been learned, and we know how to do things that we probably would have never known how to do 2 years ago, year and a half ago. Like how to like cope with everything, what to do when things go wrong, drastically go wrong. And you can't like meet in the middle anywhere. You have to like kind of compromise.
Right. I think, like you said, I think we've all learned some things that we didn't know before. Ezekiel, when he was on my podcast a couple of days ago, he watched me when it was all done, doing my edits, putting things in places. And he was like, man, you got this down to like a science. Mm-hmm. When I first started, I didn't know how to do any of this. Yeah. I was just like, I was a bumbling fool. Like, all right, what do I need to do? How do I start this? Yeah. And I got interested and I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to learn it.
I agree with you. This is a really exciting time. I feel like a lot of people are like opening their minds to like things they've never thought about before.
Right.
So we're all learning a lot, which is, it's always nice to learn.
I think,
no matter how old you are.
Yeah, it is. That's true. I think probably I don't know if you can consider it a bad thing, but the only thing to come out of this that might not necessarily be, I wouldn't say bad, but it could be, is it seems like the establishment entertainment industry is fighting against the digital revolution.
Yeah. People are just trying to keep things the same.
They are trying to hold on so bad.
It's not going to end well. It's just not possible for things to like stay how they were. Like it's just not possible anymore.
It's not tenable.
The world has changed within this year, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It
really.
has.
So they're either going to learn or they're going to fall, and they're not going to be able to get back up.
I agree. You know how many record labels that are not around anymore? Like, I remember there were so many different labels and sub labels. Now some of the major labels are still here, but a lot of the sub labels are non-existent.
Yeah,
because when the streaming
don't know
age,
how to adapt.
Right, when the streaming age started, they fought against. I remember you wouldn't be old enough to remember this, but I remember the record industry fought against Napster so hard. Now Napster
that's now what is it?
Rhapsody, yeah, owns Napster, but Napster was like iTunes before iTunes. But the thing is,
I used to use that app all the time.
It wasn't necessarily legal when it first started. When it became an app, they had got everything squared away and it was legal. But before that, it was just, it was peer to peer. So people across the internet sharing their music with other people. It's a peer to
Like they
peer
do
network.
with movies and shows.
Right, like on torrents, right,
Yeah.
which is illegal, but it was a peer to peer network. The record label, instead of looking at that and saying, "Oh, people really want to hear their stuff,"
That was an
digitally.
opportunity to expand.
It
Like you can
was.
still hold on to what you originally started on, but just be willing to expand.
Right, and they didn't do that. Like, you know, did me and you talk about this? I think this was years ago. Years ago, I said, why don't these movie companies release movies in the theater and also make it available to stream at home?
You've
Like-
actually brought this up a lot.
Yeah, I brought up a
because
lot.
That is, I mean, they're doing it now.
They have
They're
to
doing it now 'cause
because
they
they
have no
have to,
choice.
right? But
Yeah.
they imagine if Universal Studios would have got ahead of that.
They would have been making bank.
A killing, because all you had to do was say, all right, yeah, you can go to the theaters and see this and pay
But also you can
$7,
watch
$8
it
for a ticket.
from home.
You pay a little more. You're gonna have to pay us $40 to watch it at home, but you can watch this at home. They
Mhm.
would have already had
And
the
watch it. You
infrastructure.
can have the freedom to pause it
Right.
and rewind it.
Right.
And record it, rewatch it, and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
They could have given you like a week or so where you can watch this movie as many times as you want. But imagine the money they would have made. Imagine how ahead of the game they would have been and how prepared they would be for what we have now. Now you have Disney Plus, Apple TV, Hulu, Amazon Prime. Who'd I forget? Netflix is eating everybody else's lunch, right? HBO Max is making their money.
In my opinion, Netflix and Disney Plus are up. I personally like Netflix better, but Netflix and Disney Plus are up there when it comes to like original
Content.
Yeah.
A lot of people rag on Netflix, which I
Why?
tend to disagree. Some people say that Netflix has trash content, but some of their original movies
Okay, yeah, their original movies are
really
top
good.
tier.
Yeah, like I saw
so good.
I saw one last year. It was a movie, or 2 years ago, it was a movie about an invasion of Earth. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, but what you figured out is humans created AI robots that looked just like them, and they were servants. But there was a war. These robots became sentient, and they pretty much exiled humans to Mars. So these humans come back to invade Earth to take it back, and they were in these suits, while
You
the
know
robots
what?
looked human. And
You know what I think?
what do you think?
Netflix makes content that people like dream about, like the ideas you have in your head. They
Right.
know how to like turn
Right.
that into reality
Right.
instead of like skewing everything so that like your ideas get jumbled up and it turns into something else. Netflix knows how to like create authentic content.
It's not forced. It's not
Yeah.
contrived. That's
Very
so
natural.
so I think Disney Plus has done the same thing, right? When you
Mhm.
look at the Star Wars, the newer Star Wars movies after the original 3, us Star Wars fans watched them, but we really didn't. It was like we accepted them. We really didn't like them, other than Rogue One was good and Solo was good. But The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, wow.
I haven't watched it yet, actually.
Oh my goodness, you are missing out. The Mandalorian.
I was actually scared to watch it because I was like, if it's bad, then
No, The Mandalorian is everything Star Wars is supposed to be. But to your point, it's because it's not contrived. Favreau really created a masterpiece of the Star Wars universe. And it goes to your exact point. It's so not contrived. It's so original. It's so rich in creativity. Like even their sets. Like, so from what I understand, all of the Mandalorian sets are a mix between a giant room with a big screen, a big green screen, and props everywhere. So that's unique, right? Like they don't have to go anywhere. They can do everything in-house, create all the sets they want. I might be wrong. Those in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I got that right. But that's amazing. If they're the first studio to do this, why?
you could literally. That sounds so low budget. You could literally be anywhere in the world.
Yes, right from your
and
set.
create a set wherever, like you can create a set however you want it to be. Like if you want to film in Florida and you want to look like it's in Germany, you could do that.
So why is it? Maybe some other studio has done this before, very possible. I don't think so, because they were making it seem like this was such a big deal. Maybe it was done, but not to this scale. Look at Tyler Perry, right? So Tyler Perry's story, I don't know the ins and outs, but he went to Hollywood. I don't know exactly what happened. I actually
saw his studio earlier.
Yeah, and he you drove past it? Yeah, so he created his own studio in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. All his movies are done there. On set, he doesn't have to go to Hollywood.
Maybe, hopefully, when I actually get into the industry, I'll know like why people do what they do. But for now, I'm just confused. The
ins and outs, you might know why all this stuff is done.
Yeah, I think maybe there's something I don't know yet, which probably is probably the case. Maybe like something's going on the inside, and I don't know about it yet.
I'm sure,
and I have to like be into that to like.
But I tell you what I do think is going to happen, exactly what we were talking about. I think in this digital revolution, you're going to have companies that fight tooth and nail, and some of them are. They're fighting.
That's with anything.
They're going to die.
Yeah.
They're going to die. They're going to die a slow and painful death because they should have embraced the digital revolution years ago. Mm-hmm. The news industry is dying because of citizen journalists that are doing a job that they don't want to do, right? You have these big studios and big budgets, and you have some dude in his apartment with a set he built and a web camera, and he has more views than, the 10 o'clock news. How is that possible? Well, because citizen journalists are doing a job that the traditional media won't do. How is it that you have people producing content on an app like TikTok, right? 10-second shorts. You remember that one app that they created that they tried to push from Hollywood with the 5-minute movies? What was it, Quibi? Is that what it was called?
Not sure.
Yeah, I think it was called Quibi. It died. I downloaded it, and some of the short films, it was like short 5-10 minute films.
It was a short film type?
Yeah, but it was Hollywood actors.
Oh.
Yeah. And
TikTok has got that.
So that's what I'm saying, right? So they tried to, in essence, recreate what has already been done by normal people. They're late to the game. Like, you are late to the game into the party.
And that's their fault for turning their heads on something that was obviously a big opportunity.
Because everyone ridiculed social media and the internet when it came out, and now they're paying a price.
Yep.
And I don't think they'll recover. Well, y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.